Have you ever had a door slammed in your face, only to later realize it was the best thing that could have happened to you? Rejection cuts deep. It stings. It makes you question your worth. But what if you could take that rejection and turn it into your greatest source of power? In this video, we draw from the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and the Stoic tradition to uncover 13 strategic lessons that transform rejection into strength. This isn't about wishful thinking or empty motivation. It's about clear action, steady mindset, and the art of mastering yourself when the world tries to shake you. Each moment of rejection can become a hidden gift, a chance to rise, not through noise or drama, but through silence, dignity, and unwavering self-command. If you've been ignored, underestimated, or pushed aside, this message is for you. Because true strength isn't about forcing doors open, it's about becoming so grounded in your purpose that no closed door can hold you back. Let's begin. 1. Remove them from your mind. True freedom begins when you stop giving mental real estate to those who reject you. The Stoic understands that dwelling on the actions of others only multiplies suffering. When someone dismisses you or treats you with indifference, your mind may replay the moment again and again, wondering what went wrong. What could have been said differently? What should have been done? But none of that serves you. None of that builds you. It drains you. It traps you in a story that no longer deserves your attention. You must cut the cord, not with bitterness, but with strength. Remove them not just from your contact list, but from your thoughts. Every minute you spend thinking about someone who does not respect you is a minute lost from becoming who you were meant to be. The mind is a fortress, and you must protect its gates. Do not let memories of disrespect or rejection become ghosts that haunt your progress. Cleanse your inner space. Declutter your thinking. Replace those thoughts with purpose. Feed your mind with knowledge. Surround it with goals. Fill it with clarity. This is not about pretending you were never hurt. It is about choosing not to let that pain dominate your future. You are allowed to acknowledge the wound, but you are not allowed to live in it. Redirect your attention to what uplifts you. Dive into books. Train your discipline. Connect with people who reflect your values. Invest in the life that's calling you, not the one that rejected you, because the more you elevate your focus, the more distant their presence becomes. And soon, their absence becomes irrelevant. You're not removing them to spite them. You're removing them to restore yourself, to rebuild your attention, to reclaim your energy. Your mind is sacred. Guard it with intention. And remember, what you no longer think about no longer has power over you. That is not denial. That is liberation. 2. Don't react emotionally. When rejection strikes, your emotions will rise first. Hurt, anger, confusion, the impulse to lash out, to explain, or to prove yourself can feel overwhelming. But this is where the Stoic separates himself from the crowd. He does not obey his emotions. He observes them, questions them, and ultimately chooses his response with precision. The world will test your temper. People will ignore you, challenge you, insult you, and expect you to crack. But when you remain composed, when you respond with calm strength instead of chaotic emotion, you show true mastery, not just over the situation, but over yourself. You must understand this clearly. The person who controls your emotions controls you. When you give someone the power to disturb your peace, you surrender your inner kingdom. That is not strength. That is submission. The Stoic warrior defends that kingdom. He knows that emotions are not enemies, but signals. They alert you, but they should never drive you. So the next time you are rejected, breathe, pause. Ask yourself, why does this affect me so deeply? What am I truly afraid of losing? Often, it is not the rejection itself that cuts deep, but what it awakens inside you: old wounds, insecurity, pride. But you are not those wounds. You are the one who observes them and chooses what happens next. Your goal is not to suppress your feelings, but to master them so that your actions rise from principle, not impulse. When others see that you remain calm in the face of disrespect, they feel your strength. When you respond with patience instead of panic, they sense your depth. That calmness becomes your shield, and in time, it becomes your greatest weapon. Let others scream, gossip, or seek revenge. You will remain still precise. Untitled, focused on your purpose, because the man who does not react emotionally cannot be manipulated, and the man who cannot be manipulated cannot be defeated. 3. Ignore them. When someone disregards your presence, when they deliberately withhold attention or make you feel invisible, your greatest power lies in choosing not to react, not with anger, not with desperation, but with unwavering silence. The moment you chase their recognition, you hand over your control. The Stoic path demands the opposite. It calls for restraint, for inner stillness, for the calm rejection of their games. When you ignore someone who ignores you, you're not being passive. You're being strategic. You're saying without words, I do not depend on your approval. I do not beg for your attention. I know my value, and it stands untouched by your silence. This kind of power is rare. It doesn't scream. It doesn't plead. It simply walks away with dignity intact. Your refusal to engage becomes a mirror, quietly reflecting their behavior back to them. And in that mirror, they're forced to face their own pettiness, their own weakness. But whether they see it or not is not your concern. Your energy is too valuable to be spent chasing someone who chooses to look away. Instead, redirect that energy inward. Build, strengthen, evolve. Read books that challenge your thinking. Train your body to withstand discomfort. Master your emotions so that no rejection can shake your foundation. Because this is not just about surviving their silence, it's about thriving in spite of it. Let their indifference become the fire that forges your discipline. Reclaim your focus. Reclaim your time. And most importantly, reclaim your peace. The man who remains composed in the face of rejection is a man who cannot be broken. You are not here to react to every slight. You are here to rise unmoved, unshaken, and unmistakably focused on your higher path. That is the first secret. Ignore them and become untouchable. 4. Cut off contact. When someone rejects you, disrespects you, or shows consistent disregard for your presence, the most powerful move is often the simplest: withdraw completely. Not in anger, not in bitterness, but in discipline. A Stoic man does not beg. He does not linger in places where he is not valued. He does not try to fix people who choose to break connection. Instead, he protects his peace by walking away in silence. Cutting off contact is not an act of revenge. It is an act of self-respect. It is the decision to no longer offer your time, your energy, or your presence to those who treat it with indifference. And it is not weakness, it is clarity. The one who continues to engage after rejection clings to a thread that has already snapped, but the one who steps back regains control over his inner space. The Stoic knows this truth. Not everyone deserves access to you, and the ones who do will never make you question your worth. When you choose silence, you create space to heal, to grow, to sharpen your focus. You give yourself room to remember who you were before their opinion clouded your vision, and in that silence, you do not hope they reach out. You do not wait for closure. You close the door yourself, with steady hands and a clear mind. Cutting off contact is a boundary, not a punishment. It says, I will not continue to bleed energy into something that returns nothing. And in doing so, you protect your dignity. You restore your strength. You return your attention to what truly matters. The world will often try to guilt you into staying connected, but the Stoic lives by principle, not pressure. He understands that disconnection is sometimes the only path to wholeness. So walk away if you must. Walk away in silence, and let that silence echo louder than words ever could. Because the man who can cut contact without losing his center is a man who cannot be manipulated. He is a man who leads himself, and that kind of strength is rare and untouchable. 5. Demonstrate your value. Rejection is not a verdict. It is a mirror revealing whether you rely on external approval or stand firm in your own worth. When someone overlooks you, the common impulse is to shrink, to doubt, to wonder if you were ever enough. But the Stoic chooses a different response. He does not chase those who cannot see his value. He becomes undeniable, not with noise, not with desperation, but through disciplined action. Let your work speak. Let your habits speak. Let your consistency, your strength, your quiet resilience speak. You don't need to announce your worth. You need to embody it. So when you're passed over, dismissed, or underestimated, do not explain yourself. Build, refine, sharpen your craft, strengthen your mind, upgrade your environment, create with excellence, move with discipline, speak only when necessary, and let the weight of your presence speak for itself. The Stoic does not prove his value to others. He proves it to himself. He treats rejection not as a wound, but as a warning signal, a call to elevate, to grow, to clarify what truly matters. When someone doesn't choose you, it may be a sign that you're not meant to belong there, or it may be a signal that you're being pushed into a space where your true strengths can flourish. Either way, you do not beg to be seen. You train until you cannot be ignored. You live in such a way that respect becomes a natural response, not a demand. This is not arrogance. It is alignment. It is knowing that your value does not shrink because someone else is blind to it. If they cannot see your worth, the loss is theirs. Your task is to continue becoming, continue building, continue sharpening the blade of your potential. Because in the end, greatness does not argue, it proves itself in silence. And when you live with this kind of quiet certainty, rejection loses its sting. You don't just overcome it, you transcend it. 6. Go out and have fun. Rejection often tempts you to retreat, to hide in silence, to replay the past, to drown in overthinking. But the Stoic knows that life does not stop because someone failed to see your worth. Instead of collapsing inward, you rise outward. You return to life, not to escape the pain, but to show it no longer owns you. Go out. Breathe deeply. Step into the world with full presence. Reclaim your joy, not as a distraction, but as a declaration. When you laugh again, when you move freely, when you pursue your passions with renewed intensity, you are not ignoring what happened, you are overcoming it. This is not weakness. This is strength through living. The man who can be rejected and still enjoy his life is untouchable, because he refuses to be ruled by anyone else's silence. The Stoic understands that joy is not a reward given by others, it is a right reclaimed by the self. So take that walk. Explore a new city. Learn something just for the thrill of growth. Be fully alive in your body, in your choices, in your time. Not to prove a point, but to honor your own spirit. Surround yourself with people who see you, not for what they want, but for who you are. And if those people are few, be content to walk alone for a while. Solitude with peace is far better than company with poison. Going out and having fun is not about pretending to be okay. It is about building a life that no longer depends on anyone else's approval to feel meaningful, because the world is still full of beauty, of strength, of challenge, and of wonder. And the man who returns to it after rejection stronger, freer, and more focused is the man who cannot be kept down. This is not escape. This is engagement. This is choosing life over resentment, motion over stagnation, and joy over bitterness. It is not the rejection that defines you, it is how you choose to live beyond it. And that choice, when made with strength, is the beginning of your power. 7. Prove them wrong. When someone doubts you, underestimates you, or casts you aside, your response must never be desperation, it must be transformation. Not to convince them, not to win them back, but to elevate yourself beyond their reach. A Stoic man does not seek revenge, he seeks excellence, and through that pursuit, he proves everything that needs to be proven without saying a single word. If they call you weak, grow stronger. If they say you're unworthy, build such unshakable worth that even their silence can't ignore it. You do not argue. You do not explain. You do not plead for understanding. You work in silence, in discipline, in solitude if necessary. You sharpen your mind. You master your craft. You rise before the world wakes and train while others sleep, not for applause, not for validation, but because the mission is sacred. You are not here to react to their opinion. You are here to refine your potential into quiet power. Understand this clearly. Proving them wrong is not about changing their mind. It's about changing your life. It's about walking into rooms you once feared. It's about becoming the man who no longer cares, who doubted him because he has become undeniable. The Stoic does not chase closure. He builds his legacy. So take the pain they caused you and channel it. Let it fuel the fire that never stops burning. Turn every rejection into a rep. Turn every insult into focus. Turn every doubt into determination. And then, keep going, far beyond the point where they stopped watching, because by the time they realize your value, you will be too far ahead to hear their applause. That is not pride. That is self-respect. That is discipline. That is the Stoic way. Let your growth be the quiet storm that reshapes your path. And when you stand at the top, not because of their permission, but because of your persistence, you will know the truth. Their rejection was never the end. It was the beginning of your rise. 8. Act as if they don't exist. When someone treats you with indifference, The most powerful response is not anger, not confrontation, and not explanation. It is detachment. Pure, silent, Stoic detachment. The Stoic does not beg for attention, nor does he dwell in the shadows of those who disregard him. He moves forward, fully focused, as if they were never part of his path to begin with. This is not coldness. This is clarity. You do not give your presence to those who do not value it. You do not waste your mental energy trying to decode silence or to resurrect dead conversations. Instead, you remove their relevance from your world, not with spite, but with precision. In social settings, you stay composed. You redirect your attention to those who reciprocate it. You engage with intention, never lowering your standards for the sake of being noticed. If you must speak, speak with brevity. Keep it factual. Keep it firm, but never emotional. This kind of response sends a message not to them, but to yourself. It says, I will not participate in my own devaluation. You're not trying to win them back. You're proving to yourself that their opinion is no longer a factor in your movement. This is strength in its purest form, stoic, silent, and deeply centered. It allows you to operate without distraction, to build without resentment, to grow without dependency, because the more you treat those who reject you as irrelevant, the faster you reclaim your power. Their absence creates no void, only space for something greater, a mission, a craft, a life that demands your full attention. This is how you protect your focus. This is how you protect your peace. And in doing so, you become the man who stands tall without needing to be seen. That is the strength of acting as if they don't exist, not to erase them from the world, but to elevate yourself above their influence entirely. 9. Build your social status. When rejection tries to shrink you, when someone decides you are not enough, the natural response is to withdraw, to become smaller, to disappear from the world. But the Stoic rejects that instinct. He does not retreat into shadows. He steps forward into light. Rebuilding your social presence is not about seeking attention. It's about reclaiming your place in the world with dignity and strength. Begin by developing yourself. Improve your body. Sharpen your mind. And expand your skills. Your presence becomes more powerful not through words, but through action. A man who invests in himself walks into any room with quiet confidence, not because he demands recognition, but because his discipline speaks louder than his voice. Connect with others who share your values, people of strength, integrity, and purpose. Join spaces where growth is the standard. Share your knowledge not to impress, but to uplift. Volunteer, mentor, lead without pride. The Stoic understands that true social power is not about dominance, it's about contribution. You rise not by pushing others down, but by becoming so steady, so clear, so valuable, that others are drawn to your presence. This is not manipulation, it is magnetism born from mastery. And when those who once overlooked you see the man you've become, their silence will no longer sting, because you've outgrown the need for their recognition. Your life becomes the proof of your worth. So speak with purpose, walk with strength, and build a legacy in every room you enter. You are not here to be invisible. You are here to stand tall, not through arrogance, but through earned confidence. The world may have rejected you once, but when you choose to rise with composure, to grow with intention, and to move with unshakable grace, you become undeniable. This is the Stoic path to social power, not loud, not forced, but forged through quiet strength and relentless self-respect. 10. Give them the silent treatment. There is a silence that punishes, and there is a silence that protects. The Stoic does not use silence as a weapon to manipulate or wound, but as a shield, a boundary, a declaration of inner peace. When you are met with rejection, neglect, or indifference, do not explain yourself. Do not plead for clarity. Withdraw into quiet strength. Your silence does not mean you are weak. It means you have nothing more to give to someone who cannot recognize your value. It is the calm refusal to engage in drama, to dignify disrespect with a reaction, or to entertain conversations that only drain your spirit. Let your silence become your fortress. Within it, you will find space to reflect, to heal, to recalibrate. You are not closing off out of fear. You are returning to yourself. And when your voice returns, it will speak with greater power, because it will no longer be shaped by the need to be understood. Understand this deeply. The silent treatment, when rooted in integrity, is not about making them miss you. It is about showing yourself that you no longer need them to feel whole. You do not withhold your voice to punish you. Withhold it to protect your energy and prioritize your direction. This silence is not passive. It is intentional. It speaks of boundaries. It speaks of dignity. It tells the world, I will not explain my worth. I will not lower my tone just to be heard by someone unwilling to listen. And the beauty of this choice is that you begin to hear yourself more clearly, your inner voice, your path, your truth. In a world addicted to noise, your silence becomes powerful, rare, and unforgettable. This is not a retreat, it is a reset. And through it, you reclaim control. You do not need to argue, to chase, or to be seen. You only need to be still, strong, and sovereign. That is the Stoic silent treatment, not out of pettiness, but out of mastery. Ilvi. Don't beg for attention. When someone pulls away from you, when they grow distant, silent, or cold, the worst thing you can do is chase. The Stoic does not beg. He does not lower his voice, his presence, or his purpose to be noticed. He understands that true value is not proven by seeking attention, but by commanding it through presence, through consistency, through quiet confidence. To beg for someone's focus is to forget your own, and that is a trade you must never make. Rejection is not a call to perform. It is a call to return to your center, a call to ground yourself in your own worth. You are not here to convince anyone of your importance. You are here to live it, to build it, and to embody it through every action, every decision, and every step forward. The man who stands alone with dignity is more powerful than the man surrounded by people he had to beg to stay. When someone stops showing up for you, you do not chase. You step back, and you rise. You pour that energy into your goals, into your health, into your future. The right people will never need to be begged. The wrong people will never stay because of it. So stop performing. Stop explaining. Stop hoping that if you just say the right thing, you'll matter more to someone who has already made a decision. Instead, detach, not with rage, but with resolve. Let go of the need to be chosen. Choose yourself. Choose progress. Choose clarity over confusion. Choose peace over persuasion. And most of all, choose to protect your energy, Because every time you beg for attention, you whisper that you are not enough. But every time you walk away with strength, you remind the world and yourself that your worth is not dependent on who sees it. It is found in how you live it. This is not pride. It is self-mastery. And when you master the urge to chase what has already rejected you, you begin to move with power that no one can take from you. Stoicism. Don't reveal your struggle. When pain comes, when rejection cuts deep, the urge to be seen, to be understood, to share your suffering with those who caused it, can be overwhelming. But the Stoic understands that strength is often built in silence, not in hiding, but in choosing carefully where and how to expose your vulnerability. You are not obligated to broadcast your wounds to the world, especially not to those who turned their back when you needed them most. Instead, you hold your ground. You carry your struggle with dignity. You endure with quiet force. This is not repression, it is self-command. You allow yourself to feel everything, but you do not let it spill into places that do not deserve access to your inner world. You do not announce your battles to those who celebrated your setbacks. You do not share your heartbreak with those who helped cause it. You turn inward, to the space where resilience is forged. And from that silence, you rise not because you ignored the pain, but because you faced it without collapsing, because you stood tall without needing an audience. You understand that your healing is sacred. It is not a tool to win sympathy. It is a personal transformation, and it belongs to you. So, you speak less, you show less, and you build more. You let your progress be your proof. Let your self-respect be your statement, and let your steady rise be the only response you ever give to those who rejected you. You do not need them to see your pain in order to validate it. You validate it by overcoming it, with grace, with strength, and with the unwavering silence of a man who knows who he is, even when no one is watching. That is the final secret. Do not reveal your struggle. Reveal your strength. Reveal your growth. And let that be the only story the world ever hears. 13. Be kind but emotionally distant. Strength is not found in coldness. It is found in controlled compassion. When someone rejects you, mistreats you, or withdraws from your life, the instinct may be to harden your heart or shut down completely. But the Stoic knows that true power lies in balance, in the ability to remain kind without sacrificing your inner stability. You do not need to be rude. You do not need to be cruel. You simply need to protect your emotional core. Speak with respect. Offer politieke gestures. Treat others with basic decency, but do so from a place of clarity, not attachment. When you become emotionally distant, you are not shutting people out. You are setting healthy boundaries between your peace and their chaos. You are refusing to let their behavior dictate your emotional state. This is not detachment from humanity. It is detachment from dependency, from needing their approval, from absorbing their moods. You interact with kindness, but your emotions stay anchored. You listen, but you don't absorb. You care, but you don't cling. The Stoic gives what is due, but keeps his soul guarded. He knows that not every conversation deserves depth. Not every relationship deserves investment. And not every person who enters your life should have access to your heart. So, remain kind. Remain composed. But do not give them the power to stir your waters. Emotional distance allows you to see clearly, to respond wisely, rather than react impulsively. It protects you from manipulation, from emotional exhaustion, and from the trap of constantly trying to fix what is broken in others. And through this discipline, you remain unshaken. Rejection no longer breaks you. It refines you, because you are no longer waiting for others to validate your worth. You are simply walking your path with open hands, but guarded heart, knowing that real strength is found not in closing off, but in choosing wisely who you let in. That is the art of being kind but emotionally distant, a Stoic balance of heart and armor. You've now heard the 13 Stoic strategies to turn rejection into strength, but hearing them is not enough. You must live them. You must take these principles and plant them deep within your daily actions. When rejection comes, and it will, you will no longer see it as a threat, but as a test, a chance to prove that your peace does not depend on someone else's presence, that your worth is not defined by their silence, and that your strength is not shaken by their withdrawal. This is not about becoming numb. It's about becoming unshakable. You respond with clarity, not chaos, with stillness, not panits, and above all, with purpose. These lessons are not for the faint-hearted. They are for those who are ready to rise above the noise, to step beyond their pain, and to live with a level of self-mastery that no rejection can take away. You do not need to be louder. You need to be clearer. You do not need to be seen. You need to be solid. So take these Stoic principles and make them your foundation. Walk forward, not in anger, not in fear, but in complete control. Because from this moment on, rejection will no longer weaken you. It will forge you. It will sharpen you. And in time, it will reveal the strength that was always within you. Stay disciplined, stay focused, and stay unbreakable.